Silverline Hospital is one of the best hospitals in Kerala, specializing in diabetes, thyroid, obesity and endocrinology. We are here today to have a quick chat with the founder of the hospital, Dr. Tom Babu. He is a medical director, an endocrinologist and one of the few certified endocrinologists in this region. He did his basic training in medicine from JSS Medical College in Mysore, followed by super specialty training from Amrita Institute of Medical Science and was awarded the Diplomate of National Board in Endocrinology and Diabetology. He had a brief stint at the Bio Clinic, Rochester, Minnesota, where he was exposed to the world's best in the field of diabetes and endocrinology. He came back to India and found Silverline Hospital, incorporating some of the best healthcare practices around the world. He is also armed with an MBA from Paris. So, good afternoon, sir. So, to start, I will introduce myself. My name is Merlin. I am a business development executive from Datamate Info Solutions. So, it's a pleasure to have you here with us to share your experience about our company.
My pleasure.
So, let's start with the questions about your journey with Silverline. Could you please describe your journey as a director of one of the renowned hospitals in Kerala, the ups and downs?
Yeah, so the story dates back to 2010 when we commissioned Silverline Hospital. But actually it started before, where when I got trained in diabetes and endocrinology, and with the vision of bringing the best that we can think of in this area to my own homeland and where I live and where I'm based out of. And this was the whole idea when I embarked on this journey. Then we went through this difficult part of identifying where to start, how to start, and so forth. And that was in 2010, and that's history today because we are in 2022 and we've achieved what we have achieved. But it all started with a dream to bring the best of diabetes and endocrinology to my homeland. And that's where the story started.
Okay, that's great. I know your connection between Datamate goes long way back, right? And we are proud of that. And how did you first connect with Datamate?
Well, it started with your founder, Joby, who I know, whose father, who I happened to treat way back in 2006 or thereabouts. And I was pretty taken aback by his simplicity. And we bonded immediately. Then I later worked with Joby in another capacity where I was at a hospital called Lakshmi Hospital, and at that time a digital or a hospital information system was kind of unheard of, or rather at a very nascent stage, and Joby had an arrangement with Lakshmi Hospital where he wanted us to test pilot his, the OP module or HIS in a very small format. It was nothing organized, and I was one of the first people to actually do that. And I was actually impressed with, even though it was in its nascent stage, but then it was far from what was desired, obviously, because I'm talking about 2006, 2007. Then I met up with Joby because when I was intending to set up Silverline, much before any of this got fleshed out, Joby and I used to sit and we used to brainstorm on how we want the HIS for Silverline to evolve. And by then, Joby had, was setting up and was becoming bigger and bigger. I could see that. And we had several sessions before even a brick was laid for this hospital, me and Joby were brainstorming on how we could get Silverline to be the first paperless hospital in the state, or maybe even beyond. And we dared to think on those lines, and in 2010 we actually made this possible. And the good thing is that we were a small entity, so we could implement things not without challenges. But I think what brings to the fore is how two people on a mission can think of the unthinkable at that time, is what this is a case in the point of.
As you know, Datamate have two HIMS, ellider and Mediware. So how do you find our solutions?
Mediware was good, and I couldn't complain. And ellider is just got better. And for somebody who's traveled through from Mediware to ellider, I can see the improvements much needed, and it's become very contextual, very up to date. And I couldn't thank Datamate enough for being a whole, or being an integral part of this whole story, or this whole process that Silverline has embarked on. And it'll be very hard for me to think of what it would have been if Datamate weren't a fellow traveler or a part of this journey. So definitely it is one up. ellider has got better, rightfully so, or much needed, and very happy to be a part of this journey.
Okay. So could you tell us what features of ellider and Mediware you like the most? Which are the functions you would like to add?
So since ellider is a browser-based system, one thing I enjoy is that I can access my patient files from almost anywhere. So it's like seamless access, seamless connectivity. So that's that's a good feature that I respect. The other thing is that how seamlessly I can do my online consultations, where I can connect with my patients on video. It is fully integrated through the HIS, and sending prescriptions to them, and and documenting these things as a concerted or a holistic kind of a process. That makes it fun, and we are also using the app that is an extension of ellider, which allows patients to book online and so forth, and also do the online or video consultation seamlessly. So that's also a beautiful feature. So it's all fully integrated, and what's also amazing is that it is a one-stop solution. I mean, it is a great management tool as well. So from the management point of view also, we get an up-to-date information of how the numbers are, or how the hospital is doing, where we need to focus, etc., on a real-time basis.
Okay. So can you please prefer something to be like any features to be added?
I can't think of any improvements, at least to my mind, because I think Datamate has covered it all. And the thing is that since you are in the forefront of things, you're have contracts from big hospitals from our country and from outside. I'm sure you've covered almost everything that I can think of, and you're thinking ahead as well, and you have a good R&D team, and Joby himself is that way a very practical, and he's a far-sighted person. So you've been led by some exemplary individuals. So I mean, it'll be difficult for me to comment on anything that could be lacking there in Datamate. I really don't think so. So starting from the whole improvements that you've made from Mediware to ellider, and also in terms of the backup that we're getting, I couldn't be happier, because Datamate is based out of Kochi itself. Not that the proximity matters, because most of it is done online. So really, but then of course that lingo, the local connect, always strengthens that bond. But at this point in time, even if Datamate were elsewhere, were anywhere, I would still go searching for Datamate wherever it is.
Okay, doctor, have you faced any glitches or any inconvenience from our solution? And if yes, how fast Datamate solved those problems?
So please remember that I've been 12 years old with Datamate already.
Mm-hmm.
So if at all there were some downtimes, it would have been in the very early stages. And you remember I told you that Joby and I, we were like in a laboratory trying to sort this out. So initially may have been a few glitches, downtimes and all that. But I think all that is history, and apart from when we were switching from Mediware to ellider, but even then, your team did a fantastic job in terms of training our people, and we also knew the importance of these things. So we also backed up very nicely. My team also understood, and we backed up. So that transition from Mediware to ellider, which is a much more advanced system, went through meticulously without any problem. So in terms of downtime, really not. And in terms of if we need some improvements, and that's mainly the area where you would imagine that in a medical field we need an ever improving, or our requirements are many, and we need to act on it quickly. And I think Datamate has done a wonderful job in backing us up in this regard.
Okay, you were the first hospital in Kerala to go paper free, right? So saving a huge amount of physical storage space, your convenience, you converted that space to parking area, right? So tell us the inspiration behind this.
It started with trying to be eco-friendly, and that's what we've always stood for. And secondly, it is about catering to our patients in a seamless manner without having them to be inconvenienced by waiting for their files to arrive, or missed files and all those things. And I realized that having an EMR or the HIS would save all these problems, which it did, because now our waiting time, we try to minimize. Our endeavor is to minimize patient waiting time to as little as possible, and this has helped us a great deal. Because if you look at how a brick and mortar hospital would be, is that you would land up at the hospital, then you will wait for the physical file to arrive, and sometimes that it get missed, or there is a delay, and there's a lot of resource being wasted there. So here, no such thing. And then the space you mentioned, because being downtown Kochi, you can imagine the real estate cost. All this was playing in my mind when we thought of these solutions.
So are you satisfied with our services? If yes, would you recommend our solution to your network?
Most certainly I would, and I have also. So I'd be very proud to tell whoever is concerned how proud I am, and how thankful I am to Datamate for all the support and for this invention of Mediware and ellider, which we are using to the hilt.
Like the decision to go paperless, are you planning for anything in future in terms of technology?
Yes and no. Yes, because we would like to work on this whole concept of CRM, which is otherwise called customer relationship management, where we would like to individualize our communication with our patients and so forth. And we would like to use technology as much as possible in order to do this. No, because I think whatever needs to be done immediately in terms of patient care and in terms of how you can digitize and how you can improvise, I think we have done. We means Datamate and us, we are pretty much right there in terms of how we've done things. I think we're pretty much maxed out in terms of what we can do in the technology front or in terms of the HIS part. But yeah, the CRM part looks very exciting for us.
Can you please tell us more about your professional and personal relationship with Mr. Joby John, our company director?
Oh, I can go on and on and on because I think Joby and I, we go a long way back and we continue to be best friends for the last 10-15 years, and I always depend on his counsel in terms of the software and allied areas, and he's always a quick reference point to me, both in the digital space and as a close friend. I'm thankful that I have a close friend and an amazing resource in Joby.
Why did you choose a different name for your hospital rather than yours?
Because you probably started hearing Silverline more and more. Now, if you open the papers, you will find people referring to the silver line in the clouds, meaning that this is a ray of hope for various reasons. Even the other day I was reading in the paper some top people, politicians, saying that this can be a silver lining for certain things. Then you have the Silver Line railway, which has been proposed in Kerala and so forth. So I think the name is there, and everybody seems to understand what the Silver Line is. And for those people who do not know what this is, it means that is a lining of hope. When all hope is lost, that silver line is a very comforting thing to see. So that's what this is, and to our patients, a silver line for diabetes and people with endocrine disorders will be very comforting, and we are there, and we want to comfort our people starting from the name that we've given the hospital.
What new initiatives have Silverline Hospital planned for the future?
So we want to get more and more closer to our patients with diabetes and endocrine disorders. So we want to try and see how we can educate them more, because you'll imagine that diabetes is a lifestyle disorder, it's a non-communicable disease. So what we really need to do is we need to build communities, we need to educate, we need to empower, and this empowerment not only with the patients who live with diabetes, we call them PWD, patients with diabetes, but it is also their caregivers, their support and so forth. So we need to work both with the communities, with the government, with all the concerned parties who may be influencing the care of these people, and we will try and access or try and influence all these or all these parties, and try and see how we can use our knowledge and our experience in dealing with these people for their betterment. So therefore, when we do that, our community as a whole will get better. So yes, whatever that takes. And so every day we try to see what we can do to influence these communities, to influence these authorities who make these decisions, etc., etc. So we try to work with each level of these people.
Being a doctor and a director at the same time, what all are the challenges you faced?
To be very honest with you, I really do not care about challenges, because I only see opportunities. So therefore, if there has been challenges, it has always taught me. I learn, I keep my ears very close to the ground, and I see what these challenges are trying to tell me. I learn and I move on. So the answer to your question in a very backhanded manner would be, if you ask me if I were to would I go through all this again? Definitely would. I continue to, and I would want to get much better at it. So really, the good thing about this whole thing is being a professional, being an endocrinologist. I've always received a lot of respect. I've always received a lot of encouragement. So, I really do not, whether there has been challenges, but we've always overcome, and we learn, and we get better, we continue to get better, and that's the aspiration.
Where do you see Silverline Hospital in next 10 years? What all are the goals for next 10 years?
So we want to be the number one center for diabetes and endocrinology in India in the next 10 years. But I think before that, we would want to be the number one in Kerala, and then we'll take a shot at the number one in India. But then, the tricky part here is that we are probably one of its kind. So to benchmark ourselves with another institution like ours, there aren't too many. So we'll just have to benchmark against ourselves, and we just have to keep getting better and better. So I think that is what we need to try and do. But in the meantime, we'll start looking out for centers of excellence like ours and to benchmark against them. But the truth is, we haven't found too many to benchmark ourselves against. So until such time, we'll just keep trying to benchmark against ourselves. So we'll keep trying to get better than our previous best.
So why diabetes and endocrinology? Is there any specific reason?
Oh, I think it's destiny. I don't know. Just that one of the reasons could be that you see non-communicable diseases like diabetes, endocrinology, obesity, all these are exploding, and I suppose that is perhaps the whole excitement and interest in this area, and that's probably what got me to choose this area.
So this was a very informative section, and once again, thank you for having us here, and thank you for your valuable time, and we are looking forward to spend more time with you and your hospital.
My pleasure. Thank you.